back. I've got a Project Life spread for you today, and this one, as you can see, is a bit of a photo heavy one with only just a few filler cards in between. And in actual fact, it's actually a sequence of cards, and literally like it's a sequence of cards, and it's of my son when we went, it's a few years back now, and we went to a water park here in Canberra called Big Splash, and it's got a water, like an obstacle kind of course, and it's basically me taking sort of sequential photos of him going along it and then falling off it kind of thing. So of course you've got to document one of these kind of photos, because especially with him, who, typical boy, thinks that, you know, he's a big hero and he wouldn't fall off it, and, you know, water, inflatable thing, and yeah, it's slippery and he fell off. So yeah, it was a bit funny, and so I had to document it. So I'm working on the title card here, and as you would have seen by the photos, the dominant colours in this is one that I struggle with a lot, and it is a red. And like there was blue, red and a bit of yellow. And whilst blue was probably an easy colour to go with, you couldn't just use blue all the time. Well, I couldn't anyway. So I went with a red, and it was far too harsh for me to use just straight up as the main colour for this title card. So I started with adding this 2x2 sort of inch square black and white arrowed pattern paper. It wasn't enough to dull sort of the red down, and I still wanted the red to stick out, don't get me wrong, because it ties in the rest of the spread quite well. So then I grab these Heidi Swap tags, and because they've got all the different shades of blue, I thought, well, that'll bring the blue in from the rest of the spread as well. So I'm a bit of a colour, scrap by colour kind of gal. Although I've done a few of late that haven't been my 12x12s, that I haven't been going by colour, which is a bit new for me, but for this one I went with colour. But I used the blue to help sort of bring all of the colours from the spread in, and really try and tone down the red. I just see red as a really kind of a bit of an angry colour and a really in-your-face kind of colour. And I just didn't want that for my title card. It was just too bam, I'm here kind of thing. So I don't know why, but that's just me. So I do struggle with this kind of red, especially that it's not an ombre kind of red. It's just that real stark red. And then I brought in the yellow as well, from the little bits of yellow that are in the photo from the obstacle course side of things as well. So I'm using a lot of the Flutterby Designs pieces here from different, I think it's the Extreme Teen collection actually, I don't think it's different collections. And here I'm using some of the page tabs, or a page tab here. So just fussy cutting that out. I don't know if I'm a little rusty at the moment with my Project Life. I think I'm doing a lot of 12x12 at the minute, and I'm kind of missing the pocket page spreads. I don't know why. I kind of gone back to my grassroots of scrapbooking. I started out with the traditional 12x12s, and then only a few years ago moved into pocket page scrapping to make it a bit easier and quicker to document those memories. And yeah, I've started being back into the 12x12s again, and not even mixed media, just cut files and just 12x12 layouts, just plain old 12x12s, as you probably would have seen, or even with my design team stuff as well, you might have seen go up. So yeah, maybe a bit rusty with this one, I'm not sure, but I just had a bit of trouble with getting this one going. But this title card really got me. I don't know, as I said, I'm a bit rusty on it, or the red, or what, but yes, but the title, Who Dares Wins. And if you're a bit older like I am, there was a show once upon a time, a challenge type show called Who Dares Wins, and you had challenges, and they had to go through and a whole big obstacle course, and I think there was another team in it actually. I think it was two teams against each other. I vaguely hear the call out, challenges, are you ready? And then something else, are you ready? I have this feeling that's what it is. Anyway, I'm showing my age, but yes, so I thought this was fitting, being that it was an obstacle course. So yes, a bit funny, but yeah, so I went with that, and I just used some chipboard type alphabet stickers that were cheapy kind of ones from Kmart, which here in Australia is our kind of not a grocery store, but home mart kind of store, I guess, equivalent to maybe if you're in America, you're Walmart maybe, or I think you have Kmart actually. I could be wrong. You may have actually a Kmart anyway. I love Kmart, but yeah. Yeah, so that's where they're from. Nothing too fancy with those ones. And then a border, I thought finished that title card off really well. I think that just finished it off and brought it all in really well. Now this filler card here ends up being 2 Project Life cards from the Flutterby design collection I was saying before, the Extreme Teen one. And I've basically hacked them up and put them together because I really liked the colours and the black on and the designs on that black card underneath, and then I liked the sentiment on the yellow card and the yellow obviously as well. So putting them together, and they just made a perfect fit for me, so that's what I went with. And then I'm just adding some wood veneer just to bring in more of that wood grain kind of look from the title card, just to keep that sort of continuity going of colours as well. It's pretty simple. Now, I haven't sped this video up too fast this time. I'm trying to keep my videos, whilst it makes them a little bit longer, and some sections of the video I've been speeding up in some of them, just so you can see a little bit more of the thought processes, I guess, and design elements. Just because some people like that, especially if you might be a newbie to this sort of scrapping craft world and wondering why or who or what we're doing. It's always good to know. I know that when I started out, even with Project Life, which can look so simple, but then if you're anything like me and you love your embellishments, you're like, oh, why did you do that, or what's this, and all those sorts of things. Not that there's any right or wrong, but it's always good to know. So I move on now. I've done my 3 cards. The one that was in the middle, I didn't do anything to. It didn't need anything played with at all. So I go to moving on to embellishing my photos a bit. So my main thing with this, because the focus is what Hunter, my son, is doing in the photo, I want to take away the background a little bit. So the background's a bit boring. There's this big white billboard thing in the background, and I want to kind of cover it up. I didn't want to cut the photo down, because I did actually think, I would use the background to my advantage a little bit if I wanted to journal or whatever when I was cutting down the photos. Plus I thought they'd look a bit off if I cut them all down to sort of just above him. They would look a bit too out of proportion. So I start adding bits and pieces that are either phrase stickers like that, and embellishments and things like, as you will see me do. Side note, how awesome if you went down, you can see this picture. He jumps over this yellow blow up piece in the middle, and I just catch this, not even planned. I must have just hit my photo button, whatever you call it, shutter button at the right time, and I've caught it mid-air. I love that photo. I was like, yes, awesome. So it is perfect where he is jumping over it. So I just, so had to make the cut there. Hence the awesome. to just fussy cut some more of those page tabs out. I do struggle with cutting these straight. I should just get over it. You would think I would learn in time that, whatever. But I don't. So I think what we'll do is no, sorry, thinking out loud here is looking at something. That's what happens when you're doing two things at once. Sorry. So, what I was going to tell you was, my thought here is with these sorts of photos where you have that icky kind of background. So as you can see, this photo is a really good example. That big white, hideous enough looking background. So as you can see, I'm using it to my advantage to kind of stick things on and over. So all of my photos for this are similar in that it's the same sort of background. So as I said before, you can embellish them up a little bit and really sort of push the background into the background, if that makes sense, using your embellishments, but don't over embellish them so that it doesn't become the focus. The embellishments don't, someone picking up your album and looking at this spread doesn't go, oh wow, look at all those pretty embellishments, as opposed to going, oh cool, look at that photo, or look at that shot, for example. And I had to be careful with this one, which I think I might have overdone a little bit there when I look at it and go, probably should have just left the stars. They really didn't need little stars there, but I got a little bit into the groove and was like, So, yes. See, this one's another one where, I think I take out the lifeguard. I was like, I don't want another person in the photo. But, this is the next shot where he's, crashed into the end one there, and is starting to sort of do the whole, I'm falling off kind of thing. And we're starting to kind of wet ourselves laughing on the sidelines. Because Mr. I'm so clever, I'm not going to fall off this, I can do this, the typical boy thing. And sorry for any guys who might be watching, not that I think there will be. But yeah. No, you got to give him points for trying. I love my boy. He's, he'll give it a go. I cannot fault him on that. No fear. Got to be in it to win it. So just embellishing there, and again, nothing too major in the photo happening. Oh no, I don't take out the lifeguard. It must be the next photo. So again, I've used some of those mini alphas just to, put some kind of journaling on the photo. Again, it's blocked out that background of the photo, but I didn't have to write. I was going to write on it, and then I thought, you know what? I'm going to get fancy. I could have used my white pen, my Uniball pen, which I was going to, and then I thought, I don't necessarily like my writing. So that's what I did. This is the one where I decide that the whole background, because he's falling off, as you can see, so there's not much of a photo as such of him. I can really embellish it. It doesn't matter. And that's what I'm doing. So I've used some bigger embellishments there, the flare, the camera, and it doesn't matter too much. You can still see him, get the point that he's falling off, and that's okay. Well, I find that it's okay. I think both the alphas Pretty Little Studio. I don't know. Could be wrong. These ones are. Can't remember what the blue. No, the blue ones are a Spotlight brand one, I think, from memory. So anyone else out there who is a mixed crafter and finds that at times they seem to stick with one more than the other. So for example, I dabble in a lot of things, but mainly I'm a scrapper, so do the 12 by 12s and the Project Life. But at the moment seem to be really focusing in on doing the 12 by 12 scrapbooking as opposed to using the pocket page scrapbooking, which once upon a time I was doing the opposite and doing so much Project Life and very little 12 by 12. Do you do more, maybe more art journaling than you do, other stuff, or more traveler's notebooks now than you do your 12 by 12, or, what makes you think that you are doing more of that? Let me know in the comments what what your preference is at the minute and why you think that is. I think mine might be that I've only got, when I printed the last round of photos, which was not gazillion years ago, but a while ago, I wasn't printing probably as smartly, that's not even a word, as smart as I am now. So I've just was randomly printing photos sort of thing, or ordering and printing. Whereas now I'm a bit more planned. So I have a lot more single photos potentially, or not enough to make a spread necessarily. I also am getting more confident, more confident doing the multi-photo layouts. And I have the cut files as well, so it doesn't bother me too much. So, yeah. Now, I do apologise. The end of the footage ran out. So now you have my close-ups. So I will say farewell and thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.